Carolyn Doobie here. What's the play for today? Well, today it's all about no expectations. Expectations can really get in your way when you want to play and have fun. Because sometimes you really want something to turn out. You want it to look really awesome and great. And those are the expectations. So if you can let go of those expectations, you can have a lot more fun playing and creating. But how do you let go of those expectations? Easier said than done, right? Well, one of the ways is to do something that you know is going to be absolutely ugly. Because if it happens to turn out ugly, that's what you figured would happen anyway. I guess that was your expectation. I guess I have really low expectations. Not no expectations, but really low ones. But if it turns out well, you're happy and pleased because you weren't expecting it. You weren't counting on it turning out well. So what am I going to use so that I have no expectations when I'm playing today? I am going to use something that's, well, a B word. Yes, a B word, a 5-letter B word. Brown. I'm going to use the color brown. This is the stuff of nightmares for me, and I'm going to use it as I play around on a gel plate. Well, here they are. These are the shades of brown I'm going to be using. Some fluid acrylics from the DecoArt Media line, and I've got a stencil here called Eucalyptus Blooms, and a gel press plate. Now I have to shake up these brown paints because I have them, but if you've seen much of my stuff, you know I haven't used them. I'm going to actually start out with the gold. I've got to warm up and get myself ready to use the brown, so I'm just going to play around with a little metallic first to get me comfortable with this idea of browns. Like I said, this is the stuff of my nightmares. Now, nightmares can be scary, but after you do something like take a print with a color that goes really well with brown like gold, and it turns out okay, I'm starting to feel the courage building up in me to actually move on to a brown. So I am going to do it. I'm going to put some brown on here, and then I'm going to brayer it around. There's no going back after this. There's just no turning back. Wow, that just sounds awfully melodramatic, but that's about how it feels in my head when I'm working with brown. I gotta tell you, so far, I'm not in love with my prints, and that's really a big part because of the color that I'm using. I also know that when I'm using colors that I love, it usually takes more than 1 or 2 layers for me to be super happy with it. So I'm not going to give up on brown just yet. I'm going to keep playing with my no expectations here that any of this is going to turn out by putting some more layers on it. And one of my friends, Kirsten Reed, has tried to convince me how wonderful brown is with bright colors. She keeps telling me how she loves using brown. She's really tried to convince me to give brown a chance. And so, Kirsten, this one's for you. I am absolutely giving brown a chance here. And much to my surprise, I really like this print, the shape of it. I don't like the color of it, but I really like the shape and the look of it. But man, do I want to get some more color on these prints. So I am going to play around putting several colors of brown on the plate at once, because you can mix your paints right on the plate, and see if that makes me feel any better about brown if I've got several shades playing together at the same time. Don't know if it'll work or not, but I'm at least going to try. I mean, after all, this is play. And I gotta say, not totally in love with multiple shades of brown either. I'm really, really missing my rainbow big time. But I do like the look of metallic, so I'm just going to put a little bit on there over the darkest parts of the brown and see what that does. And having no expectations that this is going to be some amazing print for me really gives me a lot of freedom, because I'll experiment and I'll try different things with it. So I have taken brown to this gel press plate. I've made a bunch of different prints, and yeah, the prints are fine, but they're all brown, and I really, really want some color in this. I really want some color. So I'm going to give it some color. Kirsten always told me that color goes really well with brown, so I'm going to try it. I am going to bring in a bright yellow here, and of course it's going to work with the browns. It's going to get more to that fall feeling of brown, because I'm definitely getting a very fall vibe off of these so far. But you know me, I'm going to want to put more than just yellow on here. I need to somehow involve the rainbow in these prints. Well, this cobalt teal isn't exactly a fall color, so we're going to see how it behaves with the metallic gold and the browns, and see if it gives me some of that bright color that I'm drawn to that I'm not getting in the brown. Well, it gave me a little bit on the sides of the page where it was white, but wherever it was brown, it certainly is a lot darker. Well, that got me thinking, what if I took the print with a lot more white space on it and put the blue on it? So I put the blue right on that gel press plate, and I'm going to see what it does. Now it turns out, by the way, there's going to be a little bit of green in this print, and that's because there was a little leftover yellow paint on the stencil. And yellow and blue do make green. So I've got little bits of green down there, but that white space at the top, I don't want to leave it white. I want a bright green up there. So I am going to take some of the blue and the yellow and just mix them right together right here on the gel press plate. That way I've got a little bit of paint on there to cover up, or the white space. I can take that white space and make it a super vibrant green for the top part of the page. And I gotta say, this print I like a whole lot more now that I've got some color on it. The print that had a lot of dark in it, not so much. But I'm not very surprised or shocked by that. Well, let's see what some Quin Magenta does here. Let's see if I bring in that really wonderful, vibrant magenta, what that's going to do with the brown. I know wherever there's white it's going to show up, but how is it going to behave on the brown? And it's a much more subtle look on the brown. It just kind of deepens it to a really deep brownish red, which makes sense because it's brown and magenta. Well, what about orange? I haven't used an orange color yet, so I'm going to see what orange does to this, and orange will probably go along with that fall vibe with the orange and brown and yellow, so we'll see what it does here. And it's definitely giving me that fall vibe, but it's also giving me a little more vibrancy to the brown than what it had before. And I can say that I'm actually liking the brown more than I did before I started playing with it this way, but I definitely like it with a lot more color and a lot less brown on it. One of the things that's really great to me about gel prints is that you can easily and quickly make a card with them. So I just took one of them and folded it in half. I'll show you how I make it fit the envelope in a minute. I just basically folded this in half, and then the inside, I could leave it white, but I've decided that's my chance to get a little more color on here. And since I feel like there's not enough color on the outside, I might as well put some on the inside. So now I've got some yellow little bits of green and things in there on the inside of it. But I also have wet paint, so what I need to do is let that dry. While I'm waiting for that to dry, I am going to put some pattern and color, granted it's going to be brown, onto the envelope so my envelope's going to match my print. Mixing all those colors right there on the plate together, run that stencil right over it, and as I take the print, I realize, wow, I really want to do the flap of the envelope too, so since I've already printed the front, I'll just carefully do that side of it. Could I have printed this and had that back open or the flap open so that I could have done it all in one pull? Yeah, that probably would have been more efficient, but it just didn't happen that way. Well, now I've got the card, I've got the envelope, but they don't fit together. But it's going to be an easy cut down where I am just simply going to cut the card to the size of the envelope, actually a little bit smaller than the envelope, so it'll fit right in. If you've been enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you know of somebody that would enjoy a little more play in their day, I'd so appreciate if you shared this video with them. And of course, over on the blog at acolorfuljourney.com, you can find all sorts of play waiting for you there. Now, after seeing all the prints together with the brown and the color on them, I can say that I definitely like brown more than when I started. Does this mean I'm going to use brown every single time? No, we're not up to that level. But I don't think brown is going to be the source of nightmares anymore. If I put enough color with it, I might actually be able to handle just a little more brown. Maybe.